Imagine you are an ancient Chinese general named Chuko Liang. You are resting in a small town with exactly 100 soldiers when your scouts rush in with terrifying math. An enemy force of 150,000 troops is marching directly toward your position. Liang didn't scramble to evacuate or panic. Instead, he ordered his men to take down their flags, throw the city gates wide open, and hide. He then put on a munsop, sat down on the most visible part of the city wall, lit some incense, and started playing his lute. When the massive enemy army finally arrived at the open gates, their commander, Sima Yi, looked up at the solitary man plucking strings on the wall, and he deeply hesitated. Then he ordered his 150,000 soldiers to turn around and execute a full-speed retreat. Sima Yi didn't make this decision based on what he saw, but on what he knew. Over years of warfare, Liang had carefully cultivated an image as the sleeping dragon, the cleverest tactician in China. The open gates looked too easy, so Sima Yi assumed it was a trap. This is the math of power. A perfectly crafted reputation is a weaponized asset. If it projects enough intimidation, it acts as a force multiplier, allowing 100 men to force a retreat of 150,000 without firing a single arrow. We like to think we judge people objectively based on their actions, but we are locked out of each other's actual intentions. Because of that biological blind spot, we have no choice but to judge others based on surface appearances and the preconceived notions we carry into the room. Look at the courtier Mitsu Sha. He built a name for grace and civility. When he illegally borrowed the ruler's royal coach to visit his sick mother and later offered the ruler a half-eaten peach, his actions passed through the filter of his glowing public image. The ruler interpreted both offenses as acts of profound love. Years later, after rivals spread rumors that Mitsuha was actually devious, the ruler recalled those exact same acts, the coach and the peach. This time, passing through a fractured image, the ruler saw them as blatant disrespect and treason, and punished him accordingly. The objective facts of the courtier's actions never changed, only the filter did. The actual substance of what you do matters far less than the framework of who people already believe you to be. That framework is exactly what you target when you need to take down an opponent who outclasses you in every measurable metric. In 1841, a young P.T. Barnum was trying to buy a Manhattan museum. He had no capital and no track record. Because of that deficit, the property owners backed out of their deal and sold the building to his established competitor, Peale's Museum. Barnum realized his only recourse was to erode his rival's name. He launched an anonymous letter-writing campaign to local newspapers, labeling the owners broken-down bank directors and warning the public that Peale's was on the verge of financial collapse. The seeds of doubt forced Peale's into a trap. By defending themselves against the rumors, they appeared panicked. Their stock plummeted, and the owners of the museum building reneged on their deal with Peale's, selling the whole thing to Barnum instead. Once Barnum had his own leverage, he staged a fake hypnosis show to parody Peale's scientific performances. By turning his rival's highbrow attraction into a laughingstock, he punctured Peale's reputation for sophistication without appearing malicious. Targeted doubt and public mockery are the perfect asymmetric weapons. They bypass a heavyweight rival's defenses, force them into unforced errors, and allow you to absorb their status. Barnum's attacks were effective because they were precise. But when those same tactics are fueled by anger or insecurity, they can backfire with devastating results. Look at Thomas Edison's campaign against Nikola Tesla. Edison was so desperate to destroy the rising popularity of Tesla's alternating current that he abandoned strategy for shock value. He began publicly electrocuting household pets and even orchestrated a botched, cruel execution of a prisoner using AC power. Edison wanted to prove the technology was dangerous, but the public was so appalled by the spectacle that it drew more attention to his own vengefulness. Edison's attack was so heavy-handed that it permanently stained his own legacy. By overreacting, he revealed a deep insecurity that his rivals didn't even have to point out. This is the friendly fire rule. If you attack a competitor too aggressively, you reveal that you feel threatened. In your rush to burn down an opponent, you risk incinerating your own credibility. Every time you walk into a room, an invisible vanguard has already arrived before you. The people sitting across the table have already run your name through their filters. Your success or failure is often determined before you speak. To manage this, you must distill your public image into a single sterling quality, whether it's efficiency, honesty, or cunning. This creates a kind of calling card that announces your value and guards your presence. If a name is already stained, the most effective repair is not a public apology, but association. When P.T. Barnum wanted to shed his reputation for promoting vulgar entertainment, he sponsored a tour for the world-renowned singer Jenny Lind. Her high-class prestige functioned as a filter that elevated his own. You can use a paragon of status to whitewash your image far faster than you can do it alone. You might be tempted to claim you don't care what people think. But opting out of the game of appearances simply surrenders the definition of your character to others. To master your reality, you must master